and strategist Evan Siegfried and USA Today Capitol Hill reporter Eliza Collins. Welcome to you both. Evan, I'm going to start with you. Mitch McConnell, as reported by Axios, saying he's a very pragmatic guy, but he is a very principled guy, and he is willing to lose the seat to prevent someone who's guilty of these things from taking it. Your reaction to that? Mitch McConnell willing to lose a seat there for Roy Moore?
I think Mitch McConnell should go a step further and say he wouldn't seat him if he won, because, to be honest with you, there's a lot of talk about innocent until proven guilty. But this isn't a court of law. This is a political opinion and what we stand for as a party. We used to be the Republican Party, the party of moral values, but we haven't been. In 1998, Bob Livingston was set to become Speaker of the House, and he was accused of having affairs. And he was drummed out of Congress by us Republicans because we stood on morals and principles. Now we're not standing on them, and many people are standing by Roy Moore, and we're seeing that people are defending it and saying, oh my goodness, it is a bad allegation, but it would be worse if a Democrat got that seat. That type of mindset is a cancer on the United States, and the Republicans who are standing by Roy Moore really need to do some self-reflection.
Eliza, what needs to happen for the GOP to save face here with Roy Moore?
Have to move forward and just continue with their strategy and agenda. You're seeing senators already distancing themselves from Roy Moore, and Moore is not going to step down. So they're just going to have to kind of do what Mitch McConnell said and say, we're willing to lose this seat, we're willing to go ahead. And also, if a Democrat does win the seat, the state is very red. So it will be a tough re-election. And so they can hope that kind of what you're seeing now with some of the Democrats in states Trump won, hoping that they can come and vote with Republicans on something like tax reform because they're trying to win back their states that are already conservative. Republicans can kind of hope that if there is a Democrat in their seat, they can get him to come along.
Evan, does Trump have to step in here and encourage Moore to step aside?
Well, that would certainly help in getting Roy Moore out of the race, but I don't think...
And it could feasibly help his brand as well.
It absolutely would, because Republicans have been accused of having a war on women. But Roy Moore and many other Republicans who are defending him are saying, why are these people coming forward now? Why didn't it happen in 1978? Well, the same could be said of Harvey Weinstein's accusers. Now more and more women are feeling empowered, people who are victims, and are coming forward and saying people in positions of power have done things that are wrong. And I think that that is a very good thing, and I think that Republicans need to listen to it. I'm very proud Romney stood up and said he believes Roy Moore's accuser. We're talking about whether or not a man has the judgment to, or pardon me, we're talking about a man who has been accused of sexual misconduct with a 14-year-old. On top of that, this is a man who does not reflect American values. Roy Moore's values are homosexuals should be made into a criminal class. If you're Muslim, you can't serve in Congress. He knows better than the Supreme Court. He doesn't follow the rule of law, and he can post the 10 Commandments even though a federal court tells him not to.
Evan, why do you think people are still standing by him? Because when I played that soundbite leading into this segment, there were people cheering for him for his defense of this whole thing.
It's tribalism.
There are people that are still standing by him, and that is what's so head-scratching, what's so perplexing to me and so many other people.
Unfortunately, because we are a divided nation, it's tribalism where we have a lot of people hearing, oh, well, it came from the Washington Post, so it's got to be the elites taking us down. We've scapegoated as a Republican Party, especially in the past 2 years, the Acela corridor and people in power. And now that people who were the scapegoats are going out and actually exposing horrible things, people are now inclined not to believe it because we have a president who screams fake news, and anything that comes out of the Washington Post, New York Times, MSNBC, and anything with a reputation is somehow making things up. And it's the same thing here. And it was Andrew Breitbart who actually exposed and came on the map. He exposed Anthony Weiner's horrid sex to minors and other women.
Right.
But now
that was a Democrat
who's defending Roy Moore. The worm has turned, and Andrew Breitbart's legacy has been betrayed by everyone.
So Eliza, Evan is sort of bringing up that mentality of us against them, which has been used a lot when assessing and analyzing the Trump administration in general, considering the fact that it was sort of an East Coast Washington Post paper revealing this stuff about Roy Moore. So do you think that's what's playing into this whole thing?
I think that's definitely playing into this. And remember, the Washington Post was the outlet that exposed the Access Hollywood video with President Trump, then candidate Trump, a year ago, about a month before the election. So there's feeling from sort of the Trump voter that they're out to get us. And I've heard that when I'm talking to some of my sources, you know, they say, while this source does seem solid, or the story seems solid, the reporting seems fair, there is a real question of why now? And this just happens to be the same paper that did this to President Trump. So it's the idea of the swamp, you know, fake news, us against them very much. And it's really playing in. It's interesting to wonder if it would be a local Alabama paper that had broke it, if the same sense would be there.
Well, I'm interested to see what Roy Moore has to say with regards to his defense of that is for sure. Not very high expectations there. All right, Evan Siegfried, Eliza Collins, thank you for joining me. All right, next, everybody, a comeback for Democrats. They may have swept Tuesday's off-year elections, but have they really found the right recipe for winning? That's next.
Tough on dishonesty.
They keep denying things that then turn out to be true.
Love for country.
Being an American is an honor, and those who become Americans know it, feel it, revere it.
Tough on our leaders.
He has no tangible legislative achievement.